This is an article from phantomsandmonsters.com entitled Horrific Unknown Screaming Beast Attacks Rural Maine Cabin at Night. A Maine woman recalls her horrific experience while living in a rural cabin. An unknown screaming beast literally attacked the cabin, stalking the woman and her friend who were inside. I recently received the following account. Quote, in 1981, my friends lived in a very rural cabin near Baxter State Park, Maine. The road was only traveled by the residents. You could drive on it and not expect to see any other cars. I was driving up there one night. As I went around the last bend before reaching the cabin, an 8-foot-tall Sasquatch was standing on the side of the road. It was massive. It had to be 4 feet across the shoulders with brownish blonde hair. I then noticed that it was a male. His skin was dark. The face had a long beard and looked both ape-like and human-like. He stood there motionless, looking at me. I was freaked out when my headlights were on him and we actually made contact. He was not 20 feet from me. I sped past and then into my friend's driveway. I ran into the cabin screaming that I had seen a huge Sasquatch. A few years later, I bought a small property near Mount Blue State Park, Maine. One winter, a friend was visiting from Utah. My boyfriend and his friends went out on the snowmobiles at night. Later, we were inside the cabin and started hearing these bizarre growls, like no noise I'd ever heard before or since. The growls got louder and louder, and then whatever this was started screaming, literally shaking the cabin. It was right outside. I ran toward the door and placed a board barricade through the loop. As soon as I did that, something was pulling and shaking the door on the other side. Each time we changed our position in the cabin, that part of the cabin would be attacked. We were terrified. My boyfriend had brought a pistol, so I grabbed it. We climbed the ladder to the bedroom. Whatever that thing was landed on the roof above us. Its screams were the scariest things you have ever heard, and they're impossible to repeat. Just as we thought our lives were over, we could hear the snowmobiles coming back. Whatever that thing was finally ran off. We told the guys what had happened and they went out to look for tracks. At first, they thought we were crazy until they saw huge unknown prints with long claw marks in the snow. There were deep scratches on the window frames and outside walls. My boyfriend was an experienced hunter. He couldn't explain the prints or the deep claw marks. I soon moved out west to California. There is no way I was staying in that cabin, let alone in Maine.